Hello friends, family and other creatures of the sea, welcome back to a high level best of 3 between in the top left spawning as our blue Protoss player playing for Twisted Minds, it's Classic. In the bottom right as our red Terran player playing for Team Liquid, hailing all the way from France, the land of the white flag and the snails, it's of course Clem. A banging Terran versus Protoss in which we see Reaper Harass doing more than it does on average. Gets a full scout and deals a little bit of damage. It's gonna end up dying here most likely. I assume there's a second adept somewhere. Ooh, it's actually across the map. That bad boy is nowhere around. I believe this shade is going to barely finish in time to get the kill. No! 1 HP remaining on that Reaper. 22 damage is what the adept does. And the Reaper barely managed to get to enough HP to not die. Triple CC. Reaper into reactor, and I've said it before, I've told this to Terran players, I told it to Protoss players as well. If you see a Reaper expand with your adept and you see even numbers of Marines, do worry, my dear friends, do worry. It's one of the two things. It's either going to be a 3-Rex build order or it's going to be a third fast command center. And you can pretty much get a confirmation there by scouting the SCV count on the natural as well. So with most build orders, what ends up happening here is that a second gas gets taken in the main. That's not the case with this particular build. You see a lot of 3 extra workers on the low ground as a result. Now, Classic got the free scout with the Phoenix, of course, so he's gonna get the confirmation, but technically should have been capable of figuring all of this out already with just the first adept. With just the first adept, I think this battery, well, I wouldn't call it a mistake necessarily, but I think it was a mistake. Not necessary, although I think it might have been created to deal with the initial Reaper rather than with any type of push. Ooh. Classic wants to spend some of that energy that he has on those Phoenixes. He says, hey, if you're getting a lot of workers, if you're getting a lot of crap out really quickly, I want to kill some stuff, and I'm willing to take a little bit of hull damage on my flying bad boys here. The Phoenix is basically like the fast bully, you know? The fast teaser, you know? He throws something at you from a distance, then runs away. Then you finally chase him home, and then his dad beats you up. And his dad is the Colossus. Classic bully, this Phoenix, let me tell you. Classic bully. It's gonna actually pick up a lot of Marines here. It's not that many Marines moving across the map. This is what, 15? Yeah, 15 Marines now moving across the map. Stim is gonna be done. Combat shield won't. Well, it's gonna be done in like 14 seconds. Don't think you want to wait for that. This is all hitting pre-battery. This is hitting pre-Colossus. Maybe you could actually do something here. So we're gonna get a Stim, snipe that first battery. That's big. If he gets two Phoenixes here and half a sentry, I think he's going to be happy. If he can get a Phoenix, that would be big. Oh, tries to turn around with a Stim. Doesn't quite get it. +1 not finished quite yet. Good luck chasing this buddy, because these Marines can just turn around. Are gonna get a kill here on this adept. Couple will run back home. Resources lost is in favor of Classic. Classic also is up in supply. If we take a look at the economy though, we have a much better economy here for Clem. It's 53 workers to 55. He's gonna have the triple mulage, which is massive. We already have 3 barracks out with 2 more on the way. Where are they? Oh, here in the natural. So he goes up to 5 extremely quickly. It's going to allow him to really pump that production. And I don't care about the supply number right now. I care about the supply number when the first fight, the first serious fight or the first push is going to be coming in. This is a big deal, by the way. It takes out 2 fresh mules. That is minus 450 minerals that Clem is not going to be gaining over the next 64 seconds. Each mule representing 225 minerals over a period of 64 seconds, which is the, what would you call it? The timer, the timing. It times out. The time depletion of the mule. Second starboard already, yikes. This is a nasty move. I'm a fan of that as someone that likes seeing high level play, but I'm not a fan of this as a Protoss player. I freaking hate playing against this type of stuff. Lots of Vikings so quickly. Think you're having a blast here with your Phoenix Colossus. Oh, Pompidom. Having such a good time, and boom, 6, 8 Vikings show up. There you are with your 2, 3 Phoenixes, 2 Colossus. Your Colossus are going to be naked most of the time, because the follow-up play tends to be charge +1 as the first upgrades and not so big on the Stalker count, because you don't have that much gas, really. You know, a lot of your gas is being pumped into into Phoenixes initially, and then into Colossus, and then maybe you want to go Zealot Archon, but Archon's not that great against Vikings. Blink tends to be late, so the naked Colossus is not so strong against high Viking counts. And with a lot of Zealots, it does feel extremely naked. This is the Peeping Tom's playground in this type of scenario, with the Peeping Tom being the double starboard user. It's kind of messed up, but it is what it is. Double Templar Archives here coming in. Now cancel both? No, just cancels one. Okay. Cancelled 2 buildings. I think that was like it was a forge. He accidentally cancelled his second forge as well. Kind of sucks. I'm just gonna go into storm. Oh no, not again. Not again, Clem. Or I mean Classic. I've seen this scenario so many times. God, okay. I love Classic platonically. As a StarCraft player. So not really even platonically, I just love him as a StarCraft player. But this thing, it's rough to watch at times, let me tell you. Classic is a guy that manages to get into good spots fairly frequently, and then researches Storm, tries to defend purely with Storm, Colossus, Immortal, and he gets absolutely butchered by these Viking Ghost compositions. Like, legit butchered, no matter how good the spot is that he's in. And now, I'm not even sure if his spot is that good. So this is what I'm talking about with the naked Colossus. You see this guy? Peeping Tom comes forward. Ooh, that looks nice. Fat shots. In these Stalkers, they don't even have Blink yet, so it's difficult to maneuver with them. Colossus are extremely damaged already. We get one Storm to zone a little bit. Oof. Neat EMP there out of Clem. Plops right on top of 2 of those Templar. Still have 1 Storm remaining. These Colossus are so low. We have more Vikings probably being sent across the map. Oh, we have no anti-air. A huge surprise here. Wow, could have never seen that coming. It's the second Colossus. Like, these Colossus dealt no damage. This guy had like 2.5 kills, and it probably was probes. An absolute cannibal over there. As Clem just moves in, and with some good EMPs, some solid Viking control, seems to be moving towards a victory here on map number 1. Very good micro. Phenomenal stuff. It's not easy, but he makes it look easy, and that's what's so beautiful. 2 more Storms now coming in are actually going to blanket this army in a big way. And Clem doesn't... Okay, well, he probably does care. He should not have done that, but he's still fine-ish, I think. He's still okay. He's going to survive this. Oh, we can... A wild recall there, a little bit late. Medevacts get filled up with units. The Viking count is still at 5. Yeah, it's single robo producing Colossus here is that's not gonna get you into heaven, Classic. I tell you, after a life of sin, trickling in Colossus is not gonna do it. Like, we just need it. I really feel like that with a second robotics facility here and him pumping some disruptors out, maybe trying to get that blink a bit quicker, higher Stalker count. That should be the follow-up in my mind. Every single time I see him go into this Storm stuff, unless he's in an insanely good spot from the early game, he usually just ends up dying while trying to hold a fort base. And his goal behind this, by the way, is to go into quick air upgrade. So he gets a Stargate, he already starts +1 air weapons, he does this every single time. It is so freaking predictable. It is sad to see. I hope he switches it up, because his position in this game now is practically unwinnable. If he does manage to win this, I'll be extremely impressed, because he's down about 40 supply. This drop is something he's struggling with, which is wild because it's 5 units and we're 11 minutes into the game. Clem, meanwhile, is sending the rest of his forces towards the top side to clear this fort base. I'm not quite sure how this manages to stay alive. I guess the SimCity isn't really helping here for Classic whatsoever. Colossus can't walk up a ramp if you full wall. And here comes a stim forward. Probably could have done this without a stim. No need for all of the drug use here, Clem. 180 supply to 133. This medevac manages to stay alive as a Viking. Does get to run away as well, so that's neat, that's nice, that's solid, that's cool. But what isn't cool over here is that Clem has a way bigger army. Way bigger. 8 probes going down in total here. It's +1 versus soon to be 2-2. I guess Classic also is about to finish his upgrade, but Classic just doesn't really have an army. He's going to need to use the super battery here instantly. I do hope it's available. It is, there we go. First Colossus goes down. This Colossus has 2 kills. Oh. Nice investment of 500 resources so far. The other Colossus, I think, got 0 kills, so still did better than his friend. EMPs blanketing these Templars as well as the Colossus. 3 Vikings in the sky should be good enough to push it back. Eventually, that's a good Storm. This was the first good Storm in this game. But it comes as he's down 100 supply, and really all Clem needs to do is make sure he doesn't get a stroke right now. Keep his heart rate in check and he should be fine. And there we go. Classic 60 supply. Taps out as Clem takes map number 1. That brings us to game number 2 on Alcyone. Perhaps the greatest map. Is that true? No, I was going to make up some stuff. Never mind. I was going to say it's the greatest map in the current map pool. I think that is not true. This map tends to play quite straightforward in a way. It has provided us with some phenomenal late games. I'll give that to this map. I don't entirely know why. Actually, I do know why. So I have a long-standing theory as to what makes a good late game map. And I think a good late game map has bases, neutral bases, ideally on opposite sides. And it's kind of true on this map. So if a player plays the top side of the map, you have a bottom side kind of neutral base, which the other player can take. And imagine Classic here goes for the bottom side, then Clem could take this top side base, which means that camping tends to not completely pay off. I think it would have been even better if there was like an extra base over here and like an extra base over here. Then you have even more neutral bases that you can kind of take away from the opponent, which I think is really cool. It's just one of these things where it's like, oh, that's kind of neat. I'm not sure actually if the middle bases would help much, but I feel like neutral bases are a topic that we don't talk about enough when it comes to kind of breaking up the late game in like out of these turtley styles, because most of the time in late game there is one composition that reigns supreme, that is just better. I mean, that is just a fact, right? One of the two races probably has a better late game in a straight up fight. Very often the other race is maybe slightly more mobile, so you kind of have to strike a balance between camping and trying to take good fights and still having to expand, because it's difficult to trade so well that you can be down like 2 bases or something. I think Alcyone does that quite well. I feel like the late games tend to be quite dynamic, which is fun to watch. It actually is very fun to watch. I appreciate that. What the hell are we doing? Oh no. Every now and again, a build comes by in Terran versus Protoss. Actually, it's always Terrans that do it. And mainly in TVP. A build, you know, it passes into existence. It moves into existence. Someone makes it up, and then other Terrans start copying it for no reason. This is one of those builds. This is legitimately, I think, the worst build that has ever existed in this matchup. And I am counting Reaper into Marauder builds, which I hate with a passion as well. Look at this crap. We're 4 minutes into the game. Clem currently is floating 450 gas. This is the least economically viable triple CC build order I've seen in my entire life. It is god-awful. Classic is building a battery, he's playing it as safe as he can, and he's still just going to be up in workers and eco playing against a triple CC. This is an issue because there's also no pressure here coming out. Like, this is such a... I've seen Beyond play this build, and then I've seen Beyond win games with it. If you're floating 400 gas, it's terrible. For people that don't know much about economy management, but do know a little bit about running, this is the equivalent of running backwards. Now, if I were to take a foot race against Usain Bolt, he probably would be capable of beating me running backwards. That does not mean that running backwards is a viable technique. Just like Clem potentially winning this game doesn't mean that this build is any good. This guy is floating 400 gas. He has been floating 400 gas for the past minute and a half at this point. This build is terrible. I'm willing to bet that Clem will never play this build again after this. I was gonna say I'm willing to bet my left nut on it, but I'm not that sure. Because Terran players, there's something wrong with them. I'm not sure what is wrong with them. If this is like something that happens at birth. Is it nature or nurture? Is that people that just do weird things frequently, they tend to gravitate towards Terran? Jesus Christ, what a blink that was. Holy crap. This is why Classic got a standing desk. Because he can't sit because of the size of his balls. If Stim was done at this point, he just gets eaten alive. If there is a tank behind there, he gets eaten. He just blinks in there. without any vision, except knowing that there's a lot of units. Good lord. Phenomenal play there out of Classic. I would not have copied that, but... touché, my dear friend. We killed 9 SCVs. As Clem is now finally finding out that he's managed to play the perfect build order to have an advantage in absolutely nothing. Not a lot of tech, no pressure, not that great of an eco either, and not even capable of holding a 4-gate blink, one of the more standard builds in the Protoss repertoire. Tank in the far back is achieving absolutely 0 here. Ooh, it's a nice stim though. Yeah, Prism's gonna get taken out. You see that pickup? Oh yeah. Classic's like, I'm not gonna focus on Marauder down again. That was a neat pickup there on that first shot dodge. Missed the second shot dodge, but still. That was well done. Clem's gonna find himself in a crap spot here, where he has relatively weak infrastructure. He is on 3 barracks. He's going to be fighting against phenomenal infrastructure. 7 gates, forge, high stalker count already. The problem with a high stalker count for the Terran is that if you have only 3 racks, you might actually just kind of get out-traded here while trying to take a 3rd base. If you have 5 racks, you can probably just push this back without too many problems and then maybe even go for a push across the map. Ooh, this is very risky. I'm not loving this. I'm not loving that blink either necessarily, but I appreciate it. I appreciate it for what it is. I think Classic is he's sniffing. He's like, can I make another wild blink forward? And he probably could. He's not gonna do it. Loses 3 probes, maybe 4. No, 3 probes, kills 4 Marines. There's a bunch of Zealots out on the map, 54 workers. Prism now on the way. I think Classic is up 7 supply, which is impressive. New Prism, charge, +1. I mean, I'm having difficulty here seeing how Clem is going to hold anything. He's still only on 3 racks. His production isn't just bad, it's awful. This is like a factory before they revolutionized the way they... What do you call it? That they did in the Ford factories. An assembly line. Yeah, this is... Clem's production here is like a factory pre the assembly line time. You hate to see it. Inefficient. Nothing's popping off. Supply block as well. 4 depots at the same time. This has not been Clem's game. That's what happens when you play a bad build. Everything else fails as well. This is a common occurrence. It's the when it rains it pours syndrome. As Classic is now going to move in. Has a crap ton of units as well as Guardian Shield. GG gets called. Classic wins map number 2 here. Feels like such a waste in that type of game, you know? You have such a sick early game. Or sorry, sick first game out of Clem. You know, nice micro, good control. Which is the same thing. So really what I'm saying is just he controls units very well. Fast second starboard, which I'm personally always in love with. And then in the second game you play something like this abomination of a build order. Actually, calling that build order an abomination is an insult to abominations. It's a bit rude to them. This was an attempt at proxy racks, wasn't it? It's got nipped in the bud real fast. Can still get charged for it though. Just an attempted proxy. I'll take this guy to court real fast. Yeah, and getting off easy here, Clem. Nice fast scout at a Classic. Probably wanted to block his opponent's barracks from going down in general. Something that Koreans every now and again do. Lovely play. Hero's very good with it too. Probe harass. I love seeing Classic do it here. It warms my heart. My Protoss heart. Single gas opener out of Clem, which honestly is what I rate him best with anyway. I love my Clem with just a single gas. I think Maru is a 2-gas player. And I think of Maru. Beyond. 2-gas, yes. Fast, aggression, early game. Clem also is very good in the early game, but I love just seeing him maneuver with higher marine counts. Less with these technical plays. More with just the, the straight up pushes, good control. That's what Clem's good with. Maru is more like unit here, unit there, maybe lip in the main. Raven in the natural, boom, Banshee. What? You've never seen that before. Cyclone in the 3rd. That type of shenanigans, you know? Clem, I feel like he shines. He really shines with these like Marine Cyclone tank. kind of fake semi-move outs with fast second and third barracks. That's what I, give him as his strength. Absolutely. What do we have going on here? It's just gonna be a standard. Oh, actually standard. This is not standard at all. This is a cute move. This is a Marine into Reaper. This is a build order that I think originated from Spirit, the Polish Terran player. You show your Marine as your first unit, then the small Protoss brain goes, Marine, I can send my Adept across the map. The Protoss brain sends the Adept across the map, and just as the shade finishes, poof, the Reaper comes in. That is the entire thing. That is legit it. Ooh, Clem accidentally there attacking a Nexus. Maybe he could have won himself a bit more time. He's gonna get one kill for sure. Needs to be careful not to get another one. Beautiful grenade there is gonna save the life of this Reaper. And keep the family at home happy. We'll probably be sent in for another mission later on. Actually, will he? He already scouted the tech. Tech scout, plus a pool of the probes, plus a kill on the probes. And a delay of the first Reaper move out, or the first Adept move out. Clem is looking at this opener and says, wow, this is much better than last game. I get a probe kill and I'm not floating 400 gas yet. Who could have thought? Unbelievable. Ooh, what's this seeing? Do you see the lack of attack lab? I think so, right? It does feel like you see the lack of attack lab. It ain't there. Yeah. So then you can expect mine drop, Hellion, or like a cyclone push maybe. Something you could potentially see coming. Clem now. Its control is so fast. That's why I laughed. Now, against other players, sometimes you see their Reaper and you run past it with your Adept and you do the shot, you do the shade, and another shot, and then you kill it. With Clem, sometimes you don't even get the first shot off. He's so fast. He's always paying attention. His eyes are always open. Rumor on the street is that he doesn't even blink. He just leave a mine at home? Where's being this guy? What the hell? What are you guys doing without me? 4-gate blink on this map, that's a call. That's a call and a half if I've ever seen one. Not sure what to think of it. Guess we have some area to blink, but not that much. Don't even need a bunker here defensively. Mine drop also manages to pass by. Classic, completely out of position, is going to be caught with his pants down. That's not how you usually want to be caught. Oh, look at his mine. Look at his mine. The retargeting. I have too much time on my hand. I'm retargeting till the end of the... Look at this. If he unburrowed there, it would have been epic. That was legit and added like 10 seconds of no mining on this base. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. That dealt a lot of indirect damage. A lot of indirect damage. About like what, 150 minerals maybe? 120, 130 extra. Just because they're retargeting. Beautiful stuff. And it doesn't even feel like a small thing. I was gonna say the small things like that matter, but it's not small. That's pretty big. That's an entire Stalker you're gonna have less. It's a Nexus that's gonna be delayed. What the hell was this build actually? This was like a 4-gate blink with a fast third as well. Was it even 4 gates or was it 3 gates? No, it was 4 gates. I guess the gold allows that. Just have a lot of cash. Here comes the Raven now. Depot's gonna get blasted. I don't think Clem looks at this and is very afraid though. 4-gate blink did absolutely nothing. There's a single Stalker here. Yeah, pick it up again. Very nice. A little bit of mining time lost and we piss off. Beautiful stuff. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Are we gonna blink into the main or what? Woo! Actually snipes the observer there. That's huge. Gonna blink in the main. Stim not done. So hopefully Classic will be capable of getting out of here alive. Doesn't pick up that one Stalker. That is sloppy. Let's get an okay trade overall, I think. 675 to 550. It's not the greatest. You know, they're starting to feel like a little bit like a Terran syndrome game. This is what you get when you lose to the first push of Terran too many times. I feel like this might trigger it again in Classic. It's very painful when it happens, but it happens so frequently. Your early game versus the mine drop isn't great. The auto turret might kill something. Yeah, 3-4 workers. Your 4-gate blink didn't quite do what it had to. You're still stuck on wacky eco. And then the Terran moves out with 2 medevacts and an army that makes you go, yikes. Third base already done as well. How's that even possible? 20 supply in favor of Clem here, as we see Classic with no units at home. Not quite paying attention. No, he is paying attention. Of course he is. Phenomenal stuff. SCV's being pulled off the line. These towers are going to end up dying, as Clem, I think, he just kills his opponent here. Right? There's nothing. Or there seems to be nothing, at least. Not even stimming yet. Yeah, he's like, oh, this is great. This is a good old time that I'm having here. How are you doing, buddy? Double Zealot Dwarf on the other side. Third base goes down. I mean, Clem is up a base. Clem is down 10 workers. GG gets called. What a sad way to end here for Classic. For a good game number 2 and a mediocre game 1. Clem is going to win the series. Altogether 2-1 score. And yeah, solid stuff. Lovely to see. Clem in top shape right now. And he's ready to take some big names soon. Alright, thanks for watching. Hope you all enjoyed it as much as I did. If you did, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel. And I'll see you all next time for more videos.